Good morning, one and all, or whatever time you're deciding to watch this. It's the weekend. Maybe you've stayed in bed. Plenty to talk about today. Obviously, West Ham do not have a game this weekend. We play at 8:15 on Monday. So we get to watch everybody else play all of their games first. Now, whenever this happens, actually, not whenever this happens, it seems recently, this season I mean, almost every time that's happened, the results have gone for us. Now, they can't all go for us in this run, obviously, but I think the worst case scenario is we could be in 8th for this. I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure that's going to happen, but it does put an awful lot of onus on the game on Monday night against Wolverhampton Wanderers, who, let's be fair, haven't been in the best of form. Now, on Monday, myself and Gio will be starting off with our Patreon breakfast. I can't even get the words out of my mouth. The Patreon breakfast show. We don't actually eat breakfast while we're doing it, by the way. We have our breakfast first, although I did bring a bit of toast down to Man Cave once. If you want to learn more about Patreon, how you can support Hammers Chat, then please do check the link below, which is patreon.com/Hammers Chat. Support the channel and get some extra content. Anyway, numerous stories today. Numerous stories. The first one is about Angelo Ogbonna's contract. Then there's a little bit about, as you'd have seen from the title of the video, Jessie Lingard and how he's managed to sort of curry favour with Gareth Southgate, maybe giving Jack Grealish the old elbow, something like that. Anyway, also talk about the board, about West Ham making Lingard the priority signing. I'll get to that in just a minute. I don't like the way it's being phrased, by the way. I'll tell you why in just a second. First of all, it's Hammer contract extension. It's the Athletic running with this story, and that is that Angelo Ogbonna, whose contract runs out at the end of next season, will be given an additional 12 months, which is an option on behalf of the club. I actually forgot. He costs £9 million. That's a bargain, isn't it? I mean, when you look at what Ogbonna has done for West Ham, we've really had massive value out of this player. And he seems to have got better and better. It's often seemed to me that he was, particularly at the start, he was a bit part player. He would be in and out of the team. He always had the capability to be good. I mean, he played for Italy, played for Juventus, right? Good player. These Italians, they know how to defend. Very tactical, very, they know all their stuff, don't they? They know all the positioning and all the rest of it. But I always got the impression that he lacked consistency for West Ham. Well, he's got that now. He is now a very, very consistent player. Our best defender, let's be perfectly honest. So at 33 now, it means he would go on until 35. I think he can do it. I really do. He knows all the tricks. He's not totally reliant on pace at all. Brilliant. I think that's a really, really good thing for West Ham. And it allows us to not worry about that recruitment area just yet. And we've got some very talented young centre-halves at the club, both with Alves, who we brought in from Silkeborg. I love the name of that club. Silkeborg. Silkenstein. Or the two young lads, Elise and Baptiste, of course, coming through for the academy. So I think that's a good thing all round. And of course, look, we've got Diop there. Well, Dawson's going to sign permanently, isn't he? And Dawson's 30. That's absolutely fine. So I don't have a problem with that at all. Bring it on. That's very, very good news. Right, okay. Let's have a little look. Oh, by the way, Yarmolenko did play some games for the under-23s. Then he got fit. And then he got injured again, it seems. So that's why he's not available this weekend. I think it's a real shame. Massively talented player, but he's just never going to play a load of consecutive number of games for West Ham. He's a bit like Andy Carroll in that respect. Andy Carroll, I do wonder how many times Andy Carroll played more than 10 games in a row for West Ham without getting injured. I don't know. There's one for the stats people. It ain't that many. Right. Okay, here's the bit that I want to pick up on before we get on to Jessie. I did it again. I took the microphone. It's a microphone, you see. I took the microphone rather than my glasses, because I normally clip my glasses on like that. And anyway, don't care, do you? Anyway, where are we? Right. David Moyes has made it clear to the Hammers board that Jessie Lingard is absolute priority for the summer window. Stories have started to circulate. Manchester United could be ready to offer the 28-year-old new deal. We discussed that before. And we understand the club's ready to ensure that one way or another they find the cash to bring the midfielder to the London Stadium on a permanent basis. Moyes also wants a striker, but with Lingard on board, he has a crucial addition to his attacking options. Yes. It's saying that Moyes will be awarded a new contract. There's sources inside the club see Lingard as permanent hammer and all but name, basically indicating that they're going to make the deal permanent. I don't like... Look, I want to sign Lingard, but I don't like the fact that the club is ready to ensure that one way or another they find the cash to bring the midfield to London Stadium. It makes it sound like a favour, all right? Which is fine. There's nothing wrong with a favour. Give the manager a player as a favour. But what I don't want is, well, you know, David, we've pushed the boat out to get Lingard in. There's no money left for a striker. The striker is vitally important. In many respects, the striker is just as important as bringing in Lingard. And it has to be done. Because let's not forget, David Moyes has offset the money already this season, in this window, the winter window, for the striker. He didn't want to spend it. He said, no, I'm saving that. What is really important is that money that he's saved and he's put by does not get used to purchase Jessie Lingard. They have to be an additional number of finances made available to allow that to happen. I'm completely with Lingard being signed on a permanent basis. We all are. Very, very important. And I understand. I respected David Moyes' decision not to get the striker at this point, because he said, well, that's all right, Jessie Lingard can play there. He plays a false nine in an emergency, and we have other players that could also do that. One of them was Yarmolenko, who's been injured, as we just discussed anyway. Another one was Bowen. I've not been convinced when I've seen him higher up the pitch. Whilst I don't mind him doing it for 6 months towards the end of the season when we're having a good season anyway, I don't want us to start next season by thinking, OK, Jessie Lingard is our backup striker. No, no, no. Jessie Lingard has to be given the keys to the team in many respects and being given, well, he's not a free role because he tracks back and he does his bits and pieces, but more or less you do what you want. You still need a dedicated striker. And I do think that it's really important when you have a player on loan, and there's nothing wrong with that, as I said, nothing wrong with it at all. Souček was on loan, not a problem. But it is also important you get another player so you get a lift. If all we do in the season is get Jessie Lingard and make him permanent, we won't improve. We need an additional player to move up to the next step, to the next level. I think they were sort of dead points in the season when we played with Sebastian Haller up top. When we didn't, in fact, the stats, I can't remember what they are. The stats do reflect that. When Antonio doesn't play, we don't do as well. So it's really important that we get somebody in as equally good as Antonio or better, ideally better. Because that way you can look, it's going to be very hard for us to challenge for 5th next season anyway, but you've got to look to improve each season. If we just sign Lingard, whilst he's a great signing, we don't improve, we don't push on. You have to push on, you have to be ambitious. And if we can go and spend £30 million on a striker, we have gone and improved ourselves. That and Jessie Lingard, great. And as I've said before, you can then look at the loan market. Nothing wrong with loans. As I've said, Jessie Lingard's a loan, but you've got to get those two players on permanent deals, your striker and Lingard. And just going back on to that, I saw a few of the news stories that, because obviously we've been covering England on here anyway, that Gareth Southgate may well be willing to not include Jack Grealish and use Jessie Lingard instead. Now, there's two parts of me on this. As a West Ham fan, I'm quite chuffed for that and I'm quite pleased for Lingard, and I want Lingard to go. I would hope that the two of them are not mutually exclusive. As an England fan, it does somewhat annoy me that Gareth Southgate, he seems almost to look for an excuse not to play Jack Grealish. And when Jack Grealish has played, and he has trusted him, he's played really, really well for England. Not saying Lingard doesn't, by the way. I would hope there's room. I think for too long, England have not had enough technical players. I think it's too easy to say, oh, we won't take him. Take Lingard, take Foden, and take Grealish. Why not? I mean, seriously, why not? That's what I would like to see happen. What it does do, though, from a West Ham perspective and from Jessie Lingard, is it is a massive feather in the cap for him. And it vindicates him. It vindicates his decision leaving Manchester United to come to West Ham. It also validates West Ham as a club that you can go to. So I thought it was great. You know, it was great, and there's a bit of, there's a bit of pride that the West Ham players won all the England Man of the Matches But there's a serious aspect to it as well, and that serious aspect is that it means something. It means that West Ham will no longer be looked on as by the outside for players coming in as somebody that can, you know, as a team that are not to be taken seriously. If you were a team coming into West Ham, you player coming into West Ham, you'd look at them and think, well, this is a viable option. I can get into the England team. It's not just England, it's internationals, it's anything like that. It's just good for the profile of the club. Anyway, I've been rambling for far too long now. I'm going to go, and I will see you tomorrow.